Basic navigation. Part 3, position lines. We take a short sidetrack from our basic navigation to do some quick revision on position lines and plotting positions on the chart. To work out our position by using a sextant sight, we first need to have an estimated position. This is worked out by using dead reckoning, or an educated guess at where you actually are. If you are a bit rusty on your navigation skills, then check out Part 1 and 2 of Basic Navigation to refresh your memory on some of the basic terminology before moving on. I must admit I have learned so much throughout this series. This makes me love my GPS even more. Anyway, fingers crossed the GPS never breaks down, but if it does, read on and you will know what to do with your paper charts. Plotting a course, I must admit that my paper chart plotting skills have been neglected since the download of the amazing Navionics app. I'm a whiz at plotting courses on there. But the whole idea with celestial navigation and all these other skills is something to fall back on. Should you get struck by lightning, lose power, or your GPS doesn't otherwise work as it should, so it is worth dusting off the cobwebs again. Here are a few key things to remember. 1. The direction in which you are steering the boat, or the intended heading, is called the boat's course, and is indicated by an arrow pointing in the direction you are heading. 2. Water track is the path the boat takes through the water. 3. A bearing is the direction of an object from the boat. 4. Set is the direction towards which a current or tidal stream is flowing, and is indicated by 3 arrows in the direction of the set. 5. Drift is the distance the boat travels due solely to water movement. 6. Rate is the speed of water movement expressed in knots. 7. Leeway, the angular distance between the water track and the true heading due solely to the effect of the wind. Remember, when you are plotting anything on the chart, you need to plot the true course, not the compass course. First of all, plot your present position on the chart in pencil, and draw a line of the course on which you intend to travel along to your destination. Firstly, you should thoroughly check the track. You should ensure that there are no hazards along the way. Rocks and sufficient depth are 2 key things to check for. This line represents the boat's ground track, or course made good. The symbol for this track is 2 arrowheads pointing in the direction of the intended travel. You can now put your parallel rules on this line and then move it over to the compass rose on the chart. While maintaining a parallel line, this will give you your true course. Once you have converted it to a compass course, you know what way to steer. You can write this course on your chart. Position lines. A position line or line of position. LOP is a line that is plotted on the chart on which the boat position lies. It might also be a circle, so it could then be called a position circle. It is used to confirm your position on the chart. You need 2 or 3 lines intersecting to get a confirmed fix. There are various different ways of obtaining position lines and position circles. These include 1. Raising and dipping lights and add landmarks. 2. Vertical sextant angles from landmarks. 3. Horizontal sextant angles from landmarks. 4. Compass bearings, relative bearings, radar bearings. 5. Transit bearings. 6. Radar range. 7. Leading lights. 8. Light sectors. 9. Depth contour. 10. Celestial navigation. If you only have one single position line obtained by one of the methods above, then you can ascertain that your boat lies somewhere on that line. It cannot be fixed until you cross that line with one or more other lines at the same time. Single position lines can still be useful though, as you can use them as advanced lines of position, particularly when doing celestial navigation. Dead reckoning. Dead reckoning. DR means determining your current position by projecting your course over the ground and speed from a known previous position. The DR position is an estimate only, as it doesn't take into account any current, leeway, and other errors. Before the days of GPS, this is how navigators worked their way around the world, taking every opportunity to obtain a site to confirm their position. To plot a dead reckoning position on the chart, you convert your course to true. Use the compass rose on the chart to determine your course, and a parallel ruler to move that course to the appropriate place on the chart, starting your line at your last confirmed position and project it forwards. Then you measure the distance traveled off the latitude scale on the side of your chart. 1 minute of latitude equals 1 nautical mile. Above the line you should write C for course and the degrees in true. And below the line put an S for speed and the speed in knots. If you have a confirmed position fix, you should circle it and put the time beside it written horizontally. The DR position should be marked with a semicircle and the time written vertically. You should plot your DR position every hour on the hour, after every change of course, after every fix, and after plotting a single line of position. If If you obtain a fix and the position is different to your DR position, you should start a new line from that fixed position and then continue. Draw your line on the chart with a C for course, and the true course above the line. Below the line, put a S with the speed you are traveling. The longer you go without a confirmed fixed position, the less accurate the DR position will be. Fixed expansion is a method of taking into account all the possible errors from the DR position, such as steering errors, compass errors, leeway, wind, currents, etc., and plot them onto an expanding error circle, which you would inspect for any hazards, as you could potentially be anywhere inside that circle. An estimated position, EP, is a DR position corrected for the effects of steering error, current, and leeway. Estimated positions. EPs should be identified by a square in the time. The time should be written in zone time or UTC, but obviously use the same time throughout. Tidal current is the horizontal movement of the sea surface caused by the tide, or gravitational forces of the sun and moon. Current is the horizontal movement of the sea surface caused by weather, topographical, and oceanographic effects. Set is the direction in which the current is traveling, and drift is the speed of that current measured as a rate in knots. Leeway mostly applies to sailing vessels and refers to the leeward motion of a boat caused by the wind. You can correct your DR position by applying these effects to get an estimated position, EP. The plotted course is the distance and direction traveled through the water. Use one arrow on the line. The course made good is the direction and distance traveled over the ground. Use 2 arrows on that line. Set and drift is the direction and speed of the tide or current. Use 3 arrows on this line. The 3 vectors form a triangle. And assume position. AP is a round number close to our DR position that we use when working out our position with celestial navigation. Site reduction tables only use round numbers. Advanced lines of position. Whether it is the sun or another landmark, each site gives you a position line LOP for the boat. As mentioned above, in order to confirm your position, you need a second line, confirming that you are at the point where the 2 lines cross. However, if this is not possible, then you can take sights of the sun a few hours apart. For example, you could take a sight of the sun in the morning, at noon, and again in the afternoon. To establish your position, you need to advance your first line by the distance. Travel between the first line and the second line. The length of the line is the distance traveled by the boat, i.e. boat speed in knots x time between sites.